This week on Destinations.
Hundreds of chocolate makers coming together for an annual Euro Chocolate Festival in central Italy.
What better way to learn Italian cuisine than from the experts themselves?
In the center of the complex is a beautiful alabaster sphinx, the second largest in Egypt. Although there is no inscription on it, it most likely belongs to Pharaoh Hatshepsut, the only female pharaoh of ancient Egypt.
Hello and welcome to Destinations. I'm Steve German. This week on the show, we'll take a look at food and drink here in Europe with a trip to a famous Italian cooking school. We'll give you an authentic Italian recipe to try at home, and we'll satisfy your sweet tooth with a trip to a chocolate festival. But first, when you think about some of the most ancient civilizations on Earth, usually the first thing that comes to mind is ancient Egypt. Paul Cage gives us a look at some of the artifacts from a time shrouded in mystery.
About 45 minutes south of Cairo is a small open-air museum of Memphis. Memphis was at one time the capital of ancient Egypt for more than 1,000 years. Little remains of this once great city. Most of its treasures were looted, leaving very few items to view. Most of the artifacts have been gathered for display in the museum.
And by the beginning of the last century, the Egyptian government decided to surround, the site and make it under control. And they decided also to collect, the several pieces scattered here and there.
In the center of the complex is a beautiful alabaster sphinx, the second largest in Egypt. Although there is no inscription on it, it most likely belongs to Pharaoh Hatshepsut, the only female pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Another great artifact is from one of the greatest pharaohs of all time.
Now, we all know pharaohs such as Cleopatra and King Tut. The greatest pharaoh of all times has to be Ramses the Great.
Just look what's behind. You can see a kind of human hand. Can you see that? As we say nowadays, it's behind every great man we have suppose. So, this is the first lady. This is Nefertari, one of the most famous queens in ancient Egypt. It is the only queen ever got a temple of herself.
Ramses II fathered about 158 children. Son number 13, the lucky one, took to the throne after Ramses' death. Ramses died at around the age of 95 or 96. When his son came to the throne, he was in his 60s. This great statue once stood about 49 feet in height and was constructed in Aswan and brought to Memphis by boat. The artisans of the statue didn't miss anything. It is highly proportioned and very detailed. But time has worn it down to 30 feet, but it is still a sight to behold. Another wonderful sight to visit while in the Memphis area is the funerary complex of the 3rd dynasty pharaoh Zoser in Saqqara. The complex was designed by Imhotep, whose designs were groundbreaking, but he wasn't confident of his designs. That's why the columns in the hypostyle hall are all connected to the wall.
Over here, it is the first shrine to have such style, such design of columns. And the architect who started this work, he wasn't quite sure and confident of himself to erect that big number of columns. How many in total? We have like 42 columns.
Wandering through the hall, which has been partially reconstructed, is a highlight for many visitors. Another highlight of the complex is the Great South Court, part of which has also been rebuilt. The court is dominated by the 6-tiered pyramid of the pharaoh and is considered the first pyramid built by man.
This pyramid was discovered by the middle of the 19th century. And how many funeral jars they found? They found thousands of them, weight like 90 tons. It's every kind of stone you can imagine.
Prior to its construction, pharaohs were buried beneath rectangular mastabas. Imhotep created a pyramid by stacking 6 increasingly smaller mastabas on top of each other. Later pharaohs took it a step further to create the pyramids seen at Giza and elsewhere.
Bottom, we have got a very complicated net of interior corridors and tunnels. It's like a big maze, and they are all decorated by blue tiles.
Gosh, this is just absolutely amazing seeing all this old stuff. I wanted to come ever since I was a little kid, and I'm just really amazed how old this stuff is and how long it's lasted, and that it's still here even before all the stuff in Rome and Italy, as old as that stuff is too. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
Now most people go to Egypt to see pyramids, and there was no other place better to see pyramids than Saqqara. By walking around the complex, you will see at least 12 other pyramids. Unfortunately, though, the landscape is littered with failures that did not withstand the test of time and are now nothing more than a pile of rocks. No, Giza's If you are curious of what the man who this complex was built for looked like, then head to the back of the pyramid, and you'll find a statue of Zoser, the pharaoh who started the Pyramid Age.
From ancient history to a more recent history, there's a chance for you to get college course credit by visiting some famous European cities. Mike Wetzel from our AFN Livorno affiliate has been a longtime student with the University of Maryland. He's taken courses in the classroom and online, but had never taken a field study course to reach out and touch the subject he studied. That's until he signed up for the Dublin, Ireland, A Brief Literary History. Mike takes a look at what goes on during a University of Maryland field study.
It's impossible to visit every place in Dublin that's affected Irish literature. And we kept telling that to our professors, but they wouldn't listen.
I think the field study classes are the best thing that Maryland offers because it gives the students a chance to see the places that the writers are writing about.
For 10 years, doctors Alison Goler and Tom Tullis have squeezed centuries of great Irish writing into a week of fast walking. It works something like this. We toured St. Patrick's Cathedral the day after a lecture on Jonathan Swift and his essay, A Modest Proposal. Inside St. Patrick's, we found the essay and its author. Field study only lasts a week. It's important to be swift.
Get a lot of sleep before you come. Try to come, more or less healthy because it's very rigorous. We like to pack in as much as we can for the students. So.
James Joyce packed as much as he could into every book. Nobody will mistake Ulysses for light reading. The James Joyce Center has Ulysses in paint as well as in print, along with the author's desk and a few rough drafts. I don't think the piano belonged to Joyce, but one of my classmates enjoyed it all the same. After leaving the Joyce Center, we were ready to explore his Dubliner stories in class.
Well, he thinks about it. He contemplates getting married to her.
So I really identified with her, and I remember being frightened at that age, being scared of everything. He realizes that she wants more than just a friendship. There's a great line on 123.
Field study is actually longer than a week because students are expected to read textbooks before they show up and most likely write a paper when they return home. Field study is also a serious dose of schoolwork. It's hard to study in Dublin. The pubs invited us to come out and play every night. Most of us enjoyed a couple of pub adventures, but other nights we hunkered down in the hotel to study for the test at the end of the week. While we studied for the final, Allison made final arrangements on her latest addition to the course.
Every year, we try to do something different. This year we're taking a tour of the Abbey Theatre, which is a very famous, well-known theatre, not just in Ireland, but all over the world.
We saw plays at the Abbey and 2 other Dublin theatres, and we acted out a few plays in class. Shockingly, dramas make more sense when performed by professional actors.
Because when I read it, I don't know if the character would be happy or if they were mad. If the mom, in this case, is still stuck on her son. So it's you don't know the history behind the characters. And when you see this, you do.
History. It's something that hangs over a field study like a cloud. At Trinity College, the cloud was light and breezy. Trinity educated Oscar Wilde and other legendary Irish writers. At Kilmainham Jail, the cloud of history was dark and sinister. Kilmainham held the revolutionaries who failed to bring about an Irish Free State in the Easter Uprising of 1916. After the Patriots were executed here, Ireland's most famous poet immortalized them in verse. Through his poetry, William Butler Yeats helped Ireland gain independence in 1922.
So it really, I think, makes the literature come alive for the students. You know, it's really making it immediate for them, and they can see these places that Joyce talks about in the Dubliners, in his Dubliner stories, and in Ulysses.
Ulysses begins in this great stone tower at Sandy Cove, which now houses the James Joyce Museum. One of my classmates is writing a children's book set in Ireland. She's paying attention to how Joyce describes the Irish.
I find, coming from an Irish heritage, I find his description of Irish people to be so true.
Allison and Tom are taking field studies to Scotland in May and back to Ireland in October.
Make sure that goes on the AFN Destinations.
If you want to go sooner, here's what's coming up on the University of Maryland schedule. The field studies at the end of Term 3 are Northern Renaissance art in Brussels and Paris and expatriate writers in Rome. Both field studies run March 15th through the 22nd, and the sign-up deadline is February 28th. Term 4 begins with Hemingway in Madrid and modern French painting in Nice. Both field studies run March 22nd through the 29th, and the sign-up deadline is March 7th. See the University of Maryland representative at your local education center to sign up for a University of Maryland field study. For Destinations, I'm Army Sergeant Mike Wetzel.
To find out more information on educational opportunities in your area, contact your local education center. Stay with us here on Destinations, because after the break, we'll show you a recipe for an authentic Italian meal, and we'll visit an Italian cooking school near Naples, Italy.
USO Paris meets all your tourism needs while visiting the City of Lights. Our friendly bilingual staff can help you with all of your travel plans. We now offer hotel reservations online. To book a room or to get more details on Paris, simply log on to our website.
For many people, the chance to experience the culture of their host nation sometimes depends on trying the local food. Italy is known the world over for pasta. For Americans, though, pasta is a quick dish. But to prepare an authentic Italian pasta dish, you need to dig a little deeper than just a jar of sauce you get from the commissary shelf. Air Force Sergeant Gary Picariello took a trip with Naval Support Activity Gaeta Italy's Intercultural Relations class and visited a cooking school to see how to prepare some of Italy's most famous pasta dishes.
What better way to learn Italian cuisine than from the experts themselves? That was the game plan when members of the Gaeta community visited the IPSAR International School of the Culinary Arts.
Uno, due. You get to wear an apron and a hat and all that kind of stuff. Okay, we've got 2, 3, 4, one more, 5. There you go. Okay.
Gaeta's Italian Culture Relations Specialist, Marisa Donito, organized the affair, which paired chefs in training with members of the military community.
They're going to be interacting in the sense of explaining in English, hoping to explain in such a way that you will understand them. So bear with us. They're also, this is like a lesson for them as well. Okay, so
the cooks prepared 6 different Italian dishes, while the visitors took notes and even had a hand in preparation. Class was a great opportunity to learn some new dishes, speak a little Italian, and mix with the local community.
Heard about the class through Family Service Center, through our calendar that we get out every month. Try to attend as many as I can. They're tons of fun. I've tried a couple of the recipes on my own, but they're great. I came here knowing nothing about cooking Italian food, except maybe putting some pasta in a pot, you know, throwing in some spaghetti sauce, but they're wonderful. I'm going to go home and try and cook a couple of these things.
Marissa has even more classes and trips planned in the coming months, all designed to make the Gaeta experience a little more fulfilling for those stationed there. Reporting for Destinations from the IPSAR Culinary Institute, I'm Air Force Sergeant Gary Picariello.
The Intercultural Relations Program at Naval Air Station Sigonella in Sicily offers a similar program to give military families a chance to learn how to make Sicilian dishes from professional chefs at local restaurants. Petty Officer Mary Popejoy took a trip to see what was cooking, and you might want to have a piece of paper and a pen handy for this next destination's recipe.
Military families overseas have the unique experience of admiring the scenery of their host nation and introducing their taste buds to foods they wouldn't necessarily see in the States. Today we're in Catania, a major city in Sicily, learning how to make a traditional Sicilian dish. It's an opportunity that family members appreciate.
I think that the food is such a part of the culture that this is a really neat way to come experience it firsthand and be able to take it home, cook it for my husband.
In order to make pasta alla puttanesca, or spicy pasta, you'll need the following ingredients: 400 grams of panette pasta, 50 grams of tomato sauce, approximately 10 Sicilian black olives, 2 cloves of garlic, a pinch of salt and pepper, and enough olive oil to coat the bottom of the pan. Before we get started on the sauce, put a pot 3/4 full of water, allow it to come to a boil, and add the pasta. Now let's get started on the sauce. First, coat the bottom of the pan with olive oil and put over a low fire. Add the garlic, parsley, and pepper. Then stir when the skillet is hot. Now it's time to add the black olives and a little water to avoid burning your creation. Cook for a few moments and then add the tomato sauce and let simmer. Let the pasta cook about 10 minutes and then drain. Mix the pasta in with the sauce and cook until the whole mixture is hot. Now it's time to serve with a little fresh parsley and Parmesan cheese. It's an easy dish that's easy to please.
This is a great experience. I really didn't know what to expect today, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
Reporting from the heart of Sicily, I'm Petty Officer Mary Popejoy for Destinations.
Now that we've shown you how to prepare an Italian meal, what about dessert? Many people have a sweet tooth, but when it comes to wanting something sweet, honey can arguably be one of the sweetest substances around. Petty Officer Steve Bansbach went with a group of Americans to a honey factory and got stung with an experience many people have never seen.
St. Alfio in Sicily has a type of bee fetish. Pure virgin honey can be found in this town, hidden on Mount Etna. Recently, though, a tour offered an inside look at how the honey is extracted in Sicily. It's an art that many people have never seen before, but they agree that it was interesting.
I guess I enjoyed seeing the, I don't know what they're called, the cases of where the bees put the honey and stuff, and then they shaved it off, and I really liked that part, because I've never seen that before, and I wanted to see how it was, and they spun it around. That was really neat. That was cool.
I like getting to see how they extract the honey from the cones. It's pretty neat. The machine that spins around and stuff, that's pretty cool.
Even if the taste of honey doesn't warm your taste buds, you can try orange or lemon flavored honey, or try the strawberry, peach, hazelnut, or coffee honey creams that go great with cakes, biscuits, and pancakes. The opportunity of trying all these types of honey is definitely worth it.
It's just been a lot of fun. It's a neat experience.
Next time you're in Sicily, in between lounging on the beaches and tasting Sicilian wines, stop by and see why Sicily can also be known for its honey. For Destinations, I'm Petty Officer Steve Bansbach.
Another favorite dessert is chocolate. There are so many different types of chocolate, from dark chocolate to white chocolate to something in between. Beth Covais has found a place in Italy where you can experience them all. She gathered a group of ladies together and visited a chocolate lover's paradise at the Euro Chocolate Festival in Italy.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Beth Covais at the Euro Chocolate Festival in Perugia, Italy. We've got some chocolate from Holland, from Switzerland, and there's a lot more, so let's go see what we can find.
Baci, Lindt, and Ritter Sport. Hundreds of chocolate makers coming together for an annual Euro Chocolate Festival in central Italy.
If you really, really love chocolate, you should come here to Perugia for the Chocolate Festival.
My friends and I from Camp Darby started our day by watching some kind of contest at the Baci display. We never really figured it out, but it had something to do with riding a bike around a path and picking up bags with candy in them. So we moved on into the chocolate castle. Pinocchio was the theme in here. In Italian, this says, "I don't like chocolate." We joined the masses and left our mark on the big "I don't like chocolate" wall. The girls hadn't eaten yet, so this big bar looked pretty tempting, even though it wasn't edible. After looking around and inhaling the intoxicating fumes, we finally struck gold. Or chocolate, I guess.
How is it?
We were hoping for free samples, but it seemed the chocolate was all for sale. Danny was thrilled to find 2 new flavors of her favorite chocolate. I tried to get a taste, but my sister Katie had other plans.
Okay, I say everybody has to buy a little something and then everybody has to sample.
Yeah. No chocolate for me. Well, except for a taste of this very rich and thick hot chocolate.
It's really, really thick.
Chocolate seemed to come in all forms at this fest, even human form. Chocolate Man is definitely my superhero of choice. There were also photos with the white chocolate angel and a very naughty Joker. After that slightly disturbing experience, we worked our way through the thousands of people crowding the streets to find the sculptors. 7 tons of chocolate were being carved on this day. This guy apparently does his best carving with the help of a beer. The best part of the sculpting displays were the pieces of chocolate that were chopped off. Hundreds of people crowded around the display, waiting for the assistant to throw the chunks into the crowd. We waited and reached and tried our best, but no chocolate for us. Maybe that's best, all things considered. We were getting tired anyway.
Not only is there lots of chocolate here, but thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And just a little bit of chocolate. Yeah. So if you also like a lot of people, come here.
We finally got all of our goods together in the end, which meant it was almost time for me to get some chocolate.
We got chocolate bread, chocolate lollipops, caramel chocolate, chocolate fins.
A bunch of stuff that we don't know what it is, but it's chocolate.
It's chocolate. Chocolate is always good.
And with this much chocolate, we had to bring one guy for what guys are good for.
Well, I don't really apparently like chocolate as much as all the people I came here with. I think they just brought me to carry big bricks of chocolate. And they were somewhat disappointed when the guys who were carving the big chocolate Buddha wouldn't give them the whole head. I personally don't need chocolate the size of a watermelon, but they wanted it, and they brought me to carry it.
It seemed like forever trying to get through the endless crowds on the way out, but we finally made it to Katie's favorite part of the trip.
Getting on a bus and leaving. I like chocolate a lot, but there's so many people.
At the Euro Chocolate Festival in Perugia, Italy, I'm Army Sergeant Beth Covais for Destinations.
That wraps up another edition of Destinations. If you have an idea for a story near you, all you have to do is get in touch with us. The best way to do that is to drop us an email at destinations@afn.frankfurt.army.mil. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Steve German, and we hope to have you with us next time on Destinations.